As of this morning, May 14th, 2026, a large negative polarity coronal hole designated coronal hole number 53 by space weather monitoring agencies has rotated into a fully geoeffective position, meaning it is now aimed with geometric precision at the center of Earth's magnetic face in the high-speed solar wind stream it is generating is already in transit across the 150 million kilometers of open space between the Sun and this planet, moving fast enough that its leading edge is forecast to arrive at Earth's magnetosphere by tomorrow, May 15th, carrying sufficient energy for NOAA's Space Weather Prediction Center to have formally upgraded the geomagnetic storm watch from minor G1 conditions to moderate G2 conditions.
You might be wondering why I started out with this guy over here. I want to verify that for the last couple presentations, we've been making predictions about May 10th, May 16th, and today is May 14th. And I'm not sure what's going to happen on the 16th, which is only 2 days from now. But as you can see from right now, it says that a giant a coronal hole in the sun's outer atmosphere is now pointing directly at the Earth. And it is May 14th. And our prediction is for May, what was it, May 16th we did? Or
You said May 16th.
I think it was May
just
16th.
I don't remember. It was a little while ago when we did that.
It looks like our date might be coordinated to this giant hole as it rotates around to the Earth. You got to remember, it takes 13 days for that coronal hole to go across the face of the sun before it goes to the other side. It's not over on the 15th or the 16th. It's still rotating for 13 days. And then 14 days for the other side. 27, you know. But anyway, I just wanted to let you people know that what our prediction date for what's going on for May 16th might be tied to this coronal hole that's now coming around toward the Earth, and it looks like it might shoot out a geomagnetic storm. And he's saying the classification, but
And Seth Burns also covers this stuff
Stephen Burns
as well.
too.
Yes.
And the other thing on our prediction date that was going
Stephen
on, we
Burns.
mentioned that there was going to be celestial events. And just in the last 3 days, 3 objects flew between us and the moon. And in another 2 days, there's another object that's coming in back to the 16th again. There's another object coming in on May 16th. So hold on, everybody. This is going to get interesting. It might settle down after May 28th for a little bit. See, I'm doing this as a special because it's on my research paper that the 26th and the 28th, which are coming up, are really important dates for activities that are going on. So right now I'm covering the 26th event. When it comes down to getting toward the 28th event, which I'll start in 2027, I'll start talking about that event. But right now, let's cover one event at a time. And this is the main event that's been concerning me, because that giant coronal hole, shoots out a solar flare, not a geomagnetic storm, a solar flare, that can affect our energy grid and our electricity and our satellites.
Well, if you look at the 260-day calendar, I think today is 11th flower. Is that today? I have to take a look. I
Hey,
think.
there's that 1-1 again. That's at 11 for the solar cycle.
Right.
Well, signs. But anyway, this is tied into what I'm going to be doing on the next part of the presentation, because these solar storms got my interest for another reason. And I'll flip it over here, flap. And if you'll notice over here, people see at Chaco Canyon this place called Pueblo Bonito. And there's a sun road where the sun travels all the way down in front of it. And there's this line that creates this midsection here. And if you go to most, not all, but archaeologists, they'll tell you that it's a D-shaped building. and it's facing south, so it keeps all of the rooms nice and warm. So it keeps our Pueblo butts warm during the winter because it's facing to the south. That's the story I heard in archaeology and museums and all of that. But what I'm going to do with this presentation, and I really hope people take me serious on it, because I want the natives of the Southwest to pay attention, because I want to know who was standing on the Fajada Butte in 1319. Who was standing on top of that butte when this was going on that I'm going to show you? Because from what I'm seeing, it may have been Masao, the Hopi Lord of the underworld. But when I get to the presentation, you'll start to see what I mean. But what everybody sees in the tourist right here is not what they're being told as tourists is not what this building was really intended for. And I want the native people, the Pueblos, the Dene, the Apaches. I want all of you to really seriously pay attention to what I'm going to show you here, because it has everything to do with what our ancestors were putting down in stone for us to try to figure out before it got too late. In other words, now. So after I got off my little, rant about Pueblo Bonito, which is this place here, located in Chaco Canyon, I'm getting ready to start the presentation. And it's only 2 pages, so, I don't have to worry about running through charts and all this math and equations.
Well, last time, I think your chart was only 2 pages, too, or 1 page, so...
I'm native.
There's a lot.
I'm not a wordy guy. I mean, if I was a white guy, I'd write the Bible or the telephone book, just over something that you could write in a paragraph. Nothing like showing off your intellectual ego. That's not research. That's just stretching your ego and showing off. And there's no time to show off. Well, you'll see what I mean when I said there's no time to show off. Okay, I guess it's time for a little bit of New Mexico history. Let me get my little light here so I'll make sure she doesn't get glare. And there's no glare, is there, from this light?
Oh, no.
Because I just want to make sure because sometimes I have it the angle too long, that glare will blast out the image. You got a good image of it?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. I put it a little this way so I don't get my shadow in it. Okay, I think I got it centered right. Is class ready to begin?
Yep.
Okay. The title of this presentation is the 1319 Chaco Solar Storm. What do I mean by the 1319 Solar Storm? I'll show you my notes, but it's kind of scribbly. 1859, 2039. These are all of the dates of the solar storms that have occurred all the way up to 2039, all the way to, what was it, 61 BC, 841 BCE, 841. So it's all of the solar storms that are tied to the Zia symbol. There's 16 on here. How many rays are on the New Mexico state flag?
16.
There you go. And there's 16 here. So you use the 16, and the numbers that I'm using are the 11.25. And I'll go through that a little later because it's a science in its own right. But mainly what it does, it shows you the dates of the past occurring solar storms that were major. One happened in 1679, and then there was that, which is not too long ago. But then there was another in 1499, which was with the Aztecs right before the Cortez landed in 1519. And if you go back to the following major solar storm, that's like a Carrington event, it takes you to 1319. Well, it's in 1319. Well, in 1319 was the storm that took out the Anasazi and the Hohokam because when it came down, it not only destroyed their civilization, but create such a severe drought that people had to leave. There was no way, they could grow crops while there was no water. So basically, all my equations are 180, 180, 180, which is what this number is. And if you notice, it goes to 1499 and 1319 too. So if you use that 180, which is that number that I'm using for predicting the Carrington Event, 1859 to 2039, 180 years. So now that we got that established, and you can see what I'm talking about here, these are all my research notes, so excuse the scribbling, because there's all kind of other things with geometric languages and stuff on here. But I'll come back to this in a little bit. So now that you understand that about the solar cycles and the storm of 1319, now we'll get back to the little presentation. The 1319 Chaco solar storm. And I just showed you on my little chart how it happened with the Aztecs and the Spaniards and so forth. A lot of people see this at the state capitol. They only see it as the New Mexico state flag. But do they really know what it's used for? There's a lot of uses for it that we know. One of them is creating the indigenous pie, which is in our other presentations. But there is another use for this symbol that people aren't aware of. And I'll show you real quickly how it works here. You see that 2039 and that 1859? That's the Carrington Event.
Yes.
And that 1859 over here. If you take that arm right there, that would be this arm right here. See? Now look, from that arm, 1, 2, 3, before it goes to north. See that one arm?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. The first arm for north, which is right there. So if you know that's north, then you go 1, 2, 3, which will take you to west. There's 1, 1, 2, 3. There's the first arm for west, right there. So if that arm is right here, there's those 3 again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And where does it take you? It takes you all the way back down to the south down here. And then you go to that first arm there, and that gives you 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And where does it take you? It takes you right back to where you started. So the New Mexico state flag is really is used for predicting solar storms in 11.25 year increments, like what I just showed you right now. Because now that the math works out this way, you can see how it works according to these arms. And there's 16 arms and there's 16 lines. See? 16, 16. 4, 4, 4, 4. And it's all in here. So now you know that the New Mexico state flag, what it's really used for, predicting solar storms. Now we're going to go to how do you figure out, the degrees and all of that. It's really simple. See that 11.25 that I have over here? You add it to itself and it comes out to 2250. If you notice that 2250, you add it to itself, it'll go to 3375, and then it'll go to a whole number, 45. Interesting thing about these numbers, if you go to 1125 and you follow the line to the other side, it hits another 25. Just like over here, if you hit 50 and you go to the other side, it'll hit another 50 over there. It's all balanced out mathematically. 75, 75. Whole number, whole number. See how that kind of works here? Now this is going to show you how to figure out degrees. So now I said 11, 22, 33, 45 degrees. What is 45 degrees? I took my protractor and I just drew an outline of it, my little metal protractor. That is 45 degrees.
Oh yeah.
By my little metal protractor. And I even drew it down from, exactly from the metal protractor itself. See, there's the 45 degrees. Now look, 45 degrees.
Okay.
Now if you go to the next one, it'll go to 90. 45, 90. 90. Now you go from 90, you go to the south, it goes to 135.00. 135 degrees. See how it's going in degrees? And then you go all the way to the end over here, it'll take you to 180 degrees. And which is coming all the way back to itself over here to that little purple 180 right there.
Okay.
So, it's kind of telling you how to set this up. Now, why is it telling you to set this up? It's telling you the numbers to show you how the route for the road of the sun that's in front of Pueblo Bonito is utilized. So now that I showed you the directions, and if you look at Pueblo Bonito right here, Colleen, and not at me, look at where that arrow is right there, and that line that's going straight up. Straight up means 90 degrees, basically. That's a 90-degree angle. See, 90-degree angle. So that's 90 degrees, in which it corresponds to that 90 degrees over there. How do I know how this works? I'm going to take a layout of that, and I'll show you. Right here. There's the 0, which is where you start at. And there's 45, there's 45, there's 90, there's 90, there's 135, there's 135, there's 180, there's 180 from my protractor. And how does this thing work? You lay this all out so that this is pointing to the east. This is pointing to the west. Why? Because the road of the sun that's in front of Pueblo Bonito is set up mathematically to measure the last 180 years, the last part of the 180-year cycle as it's closing from 179 and going to the 0 point like an odometer. See, the odometer is 0. Huh? This wall right here with the arrow, that's the 90-degree angle that's going straight up. That marks where the solar flare is going to come down and land. Probably right there, more likely, because it's pointing down. This is the solar flare. And this is the end of the 180-year solar cycle. Why? The sun road goes really rocky and abrupt and all that to the certain point. Then it hits that little square to where my arrow is. There's a little spot that's in between here where the arrow is. That's the last part of the 180-year cycle. This is it going into transition into the next cycle. See, it's going over across this line. So now how that's going to cross? This one right here is in the new cycle. And what is it going to do in the new cycle? The road smooths out. And then it starts going west to where it goes to the be sunset. See how the road is all smooth now as it goes west? So basically the sun road is showing you the last part of the 180-year solar cycle as it comes to a completion. And when it came down, that solar storm hit at that 90-degree angle. There's the sun road, and the sun going to 100, going from the 180 degrees I told you about to where it explodes, and then it goes into the new cycle going to the west. And there's the solar flare that's coming down. Which is the solar flare right there that's coming down to there. to there. So now they were setting this up, hoping that somebody in the native world would figure this out, but we're too busy listening to tourists, anthropologists, archaeologists, Spanish chroniclers, and just being lazy red butts about doing our own homework and doing our own research, which is really sad because we're lazy red butts. I'll just say it. We're letting the white man do all the work for us. So, we make good little white people, don't we?
Well, I was gonna say too, because we've been so colonized, we just there's a lot of people who think of it as like expecting handouts. They become apathetic.
They colonize your mind, and then they'll colonize your soul, and then they'll eat your soul. It's that simple, And you got to unchain the colonization chains that are in your mind to get it free. Because if you don't, they'll colonize your soul, and then you're gone. Then you're a good little Christian. And then you're sinning like hell like everybody else. Oh, my last little thing I was going to say here. The east entrance of the Sun Road is where the red number 180 is, which is right there. This is the tail end of the 180-year solar cycle, or 1319, which I was explaining earlier. The sun progresses west to the middle of Pueblo Bonito at the 90-degree angle, which is this right here, the 90-degree angle mark on here. The 1319 solar cycle ends when it reaches this past point and starts a new solar cycle here. And the 1319 solar cycle ends and the sun continues west as it's going down the Sun Road, and now it's got past that transition point, and the sun continues west to continue on to a new 180-year cycle, and that cycle is the one that I showed you a little earlier. That one. And where's it going to go when it leaves in 1319? When it leaves in 1319, the sun is going to continue on that path onto another 180-year rotation until it goes to 1499, where the same event that hit the people at Pueblo Bonito and Chaco Canyon is now going to hit the Aztecs in 1499 before the Aztec Empire collapsed. As a matter of fact, the 1499 solar storm probably weakened the Aztecs, and also when the Spaniards came and the Allies got together, it was probably easier to take them down because they were just barely recovering. Because after the solar storm of 1499, add 8 years to that, Colleen. Where does that take you?
1499 plus 8 is 1507. Yeah.
1506, 1507. One rabbit. Sound familiar?
We're in the year one rabbit right now, 2020.
Yeah, and one rabbit for them too. And that was the year that Montezuma changed from one reed to two reed because he didn't want to have one rabbit because it was such a bad year. Now you know why it was a bad year. It was the tail end of that solar storm of 1499. The same solar storm that hit Chaco. The same solar storm that hit the Aztecs. 180 years later, it's the same solar storm that hit the Spanish, and the Spaniards went down in the 1600s. And then
down south, yeah.
You go 180, it takes you to the Carrington Event itself, which is this right here. And then from the Carrington Event, where does it go? 2039. Us. We're in the place of where the people that were at Chaco Canyon, the people that were in Aztec in 1499. We're in the same position that they're going to be in 2039 when the cycle is up for us. And who knows where it's going to go and how it's going to hit. But like I said, the main reason I'm doing this is because your modern scientists and religions aren't going to be telling you any of this. I mean, they're more interested in staying in control and keeping power and all that nonsense, when they should be informing the public about things that are going to be coming down like this. And I want to tell you one thing. I want to let people know that people are starting to think, oh, that Roger, he's some kind of genius. He's some kind of egghead nerd or some kind of, I admit I do have a little brain in my head where I can figure things out. But I want to give credit to where credit really is due. I'm really only the rediscoverer of this. I'm only the person that came across this after it was already created. The real people that should be given credit for all of this shouldn't be me or even what we're doing as re-indigenizing minds. The real credit should go to the ancient Einsteins, which are our ancestors, who are the ones that created this. I'm just rediscovering it. Those guys a long time ago created this. And that ceases to amaze me. Even though I rediscovered this, someone a long time ago, or somewhere a long time ago, we actually didn't have a low self-esteem. We actually had a brain in our head. We actually weren't so gullible, and we weren't so stupid, and we weren't so blind. What happened? Sometimes I think I got thrown a curve. I think I was supposed to have been born in the ancient times, and somebody threw me a curve, and they threw me into the future. And here I am here trying to sit in this modern, crazy world with ancient concepts in my head that I don't understand because I don't feel like I fit in this modern world.
People run away from you, Rod.
Yeah, they run away screaming. Why? I'm trying to give you back your culture. Get away from me! I don't believe you. I want to run back to the white man. He's teaching me how to be an Indian. Oh, brother. Oh, noble red man, my ass. Class over. So that's the 1319 Chaco solar storm that I'm talking about. And this is what Pueblo Bonito was really used for, was for predicting that solar flare when it hit. And not only that, the New Mexico state flag was used to calculate all the numbers for every solar storm that was going to occur from the BCs all the way to the present and all the way into the future. Wow. And now you know what the flag of New Mexico was really used for. Solar storms, solar flares. New Mexico history. Real New Mexico history. Not that it's D-shaped so they can keep their Pueblo butts warm because that's where the sun hits. I like that one. That's a good one.
You heard that? Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Well, maybe I'll keep some Navajo butts warm too. I don't know. You guys built the place, you got free labor, you guys got hired. You're hired now. Get out there and start building Chaco.
The gambler.
Yeah, well, you guys were bad gamblers. No wonder. Hey, you want to gamble? I own the Navajo Nation if I do that.
So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Happy Solar Flare Day. Solar Flare Coffee.